on, guys? Thank you guys for joining the show. This is the Fantasy Football Picks and Bets presented by PrizePicks. Make sure you guys go download the app right now. They are matching up to $100. You'll be set and ready to make the big bucks. So we got a great show today. I got a great guest I've been waiting to work with. And my man, Scott, Nimble with Numbers, is here with me today. What up, buddy?
Hey, man. How you doing, LaQuan? I'm really excited to be able to podcast with you for the first time, or live stream or show or whatever it is. This is like one of those fantasy dreams come true. Like when you see a guy on Twitter, you're like, that's a guy I want to podcast with, but I don't know how to ask him out on a date. Well, Pat Mayo hooked it up. We could go on this fantasy date. So I'm really excited, and I'm nervous. I hope I don't disappoint, honestly.
No, you're going to do great, man. Thank you, Pat, for the matchmaker. But Scott, this is great, man. Your energy has always been something that I've been wanting to match, man. Like you're definitely one of the guys that I'm happy to work with on this show specifically, because we got some prize picks, some over-unders, some guys we need to get into. So I want to ask you, what are some of your picks, for today's game?
So let's start off with rushing. There's one game in particular that I'm kind of looking at. It's the Washington football team versus the Baltimore Ravens. And there's a couple of numbers in there that I've kind of, and Nimble with numbers, he's got to be good with the numbers. So I kind of looked at the numbers a little closer. Peyton Barber, this guy is, he's not a lock to make the team, but I'm pretty sure he's somebody who's going to make the team. I don't really see him being featured in this game as a veteran. I don't understand if that's going to happen or not. But even if he is featured, he's only totaled 22 yards so far in the preseason on a couple of games, couple of carries. So for his over-under, it's kind of juicy. It's 19.5 rushing yards. And you're kind of thinking, that's low-hanging fruit. Well, the Ravens aren't, terrible against the run. And then also, I don't know how much Washington football team wants to establish the run necessarily. I think they're trying to look at their quarterbacks, get their receivers in sync. So I'm going to fade Peyton Barber. I'm going to take the under of 19.5 rushing yards. He might fall into the end zone a couple times. Might score a couple touchdowns, but I don't think he's going to bust one up for a long run. So I'm fading that. And then on the other side for the Ravens, I got Nate McCrary. I want to say that correctly. Over 31.5 rushing yards. I like that. It's a little bit bigger number. I've got 12 more points than Peyton Barber, or more yards than Peyton Barber. But Washington football team is giving up 145 rushing yards per game in the preseason. So, maybe that doesn't, accrue this week, and maybe there's a coming back to earth. But, I think Nate wants to make the team. He's in a battle here for that fourth spot. So we'll see what he can do, given some touches tonight. And so those are the two I was kind of leaning in. I'm also local here in the Washington, D.C. area. I'm not a fan of either team. So I kind of am getting a little bit of both sides. So those are some of the running back plays. I got a couple more for the team and for Baltimore and the quarterbacks and then the receivers. We'll get into that. What about you for running backs? Yeah. You like somebody too.
I like Xavier Jones. Like the 36.5 over is looking like a smash for me, being that Sony Michel did get traded. He is now a LA Rams. I can't believe I want to say St. Louis. Like, what am I doing? But he is an LA Ram now. And I know you guys can see the Rams behind me. That's why, St. Louis, LA. But anyway, getting into Xavier Jones, I definitely think, we already know Hendo is not going to be playing. There's no way we're going to see Henderson this preseason. So Sony Michel, he's not ready to suit up as well. So Xavier Jones can be a spicy smash play for that 36.5 over. So I'm definitely smashing that for the prize picks.
No, I like that a lot. And we'll talk about it on the back end. There's some fantasy points there that are juicy that might just come back when we go look at the fantasy points. By the way, I love that part of PrizePicks that you can kind of go on the over-under, which is that kind of that gambling sense. But then you can play fantasy angle too. So we'll wrap up with that. But I'll come back with the little Xavier Jones because I like that. Let's jump into QBs. Talking about the Rams, Bryce Perkins, he's kind of getting all the love. He's getting all the attention. Our guy over there, Sean Mastermind McVay, he doesn't play any starters during the preseason. He's just complete Bill Belichick. I like that a lot. You can't risk millions of dollars getting hurt on something that is just a warm up of practice.
With guys out there trying to prove something too.
Right. With other people who have nothing to lose, and so I'm not into that. I love what he's doing and kind of keeping that, separate. But that means Perkins is going to get a lot of runs. So he's been getting up there. His over-under is 190.5 passing yards. And so that's not, ridiculous in a game, right? Yeah. But I mean, for me, I know that Denver has not given up that. They don't normally give up. They've given up like 120 yards a game. They're not giving up 190 yards a game. So I'm just not going to be targeting Bryce Perkins. I'm going to fade the under in that. It's a lot of yards. You know what I'm saying?
It's a lot.
Yeah, you're playing the whole game.
Or a mobile quarterback at that too.
Right. I was going to say, and he gets out of the pocket. He can get going. So some of those yards he's going to eat up on his feet, which you'd love to see in a week 3 preseason, which is technically week 4 since we've got that truncated kind of new situation. But same game, Denver and Drew Lock. Drew Lock's got something to prove. I don't know if you know this, but Teddy Bridgewater was announced a starting quarterback in Denver.
Glove.
We've been talking about this on fantasy Twitter. If you've been in the know, you've known this for a while. This was kind of what we thought was going to come. We didn't know it was going to come this soon. But man, wow, we thought maybe week 3 or 4, but this is great news. But Drew Lock still has something to prove. So his over at 92.5 passing yards, I think it's in play. I know that the Rams have done a pretty good job of defending the pass, but if you're Drew Lock, you're airing it out. You're going deep. You're going to show what you got because you know what, you want to be able to be seen. You're not going to be a shrinking violet right now. You know, your T is up, as Danny Carter would say. You got high T. So I like that. What do you think about that game? How do you think that game kind of shakes out? You might have a different game script than me.
I definitely agree with you that Drew Lock will play very aggressive. He definitely has a chip on his shoulder. You know, Teddy Two Glove being named the starter this soon. It's like, oh man, what's going on? So he definitely has something to prove to give them something to look at and be able to say, hey, Drew Lock is there waiting, ready for his name to be called. And he'll be able to, ball out when his name is called. But this game, I'm looking at him just being very aggressive to go downfield like that KJ Hamler pass that we saw, what was it, a week ago, but 2 weeks ago, whatever. But that was very impressive. That was something that you could put on film, and that gives them, confidence that they have a good backup quarterback.
Yeah, no, I like that too. You're jumping over, talk about the Washington football team game. Huntley, his over-under is 155 passing yards. He's going to play pretty much the whole game. It's going to be his show. Only issue is Washington football team has only given up 127 passing yards a game. So not that all these things can't be broken. It's a small sample size.
Exactly.
I get it, but I just don't see this being a big aerial attack, you know what I mean, necessarily. I see a lot of running the football. I like the Nate McCrary over. So I'm not thinking that the Huntley gets there necessarily on the Washington football team defense. That they haven't looked great. They're 0-2, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
They have expectations. So I was listening to the Junkies on the way in today. It's a local sports radio here, big in the Washington, D.C. area. And they're already talking if they start 0-2 and then they go on the road and they're going to go up against a team. And you're like, oh, my goodness, things are out of control. Preseason got people crazy already. So it is something right. But I do think they kind of bring it back down and kind of limit. Huntley, not that he's not an effective player, but not known as an aerial attack artist. So we'll kind of keep it at the under for that. And then, one more guy, though, who I love this season. I can't wait for him to kind of, get under pressure and roll out and just roll away from his line every game. That's Justin Fields, Bears rookie quarterback. Yeah. He has an over of 95.5 passing yards. He's starting the game. I love it. I didn't really pick too many of his wide receivers in the prize picks, but if you're looking for somebody you want to stack up, for DraftKings, we'll talk a little bit later about that. But, I definitely like him with any of his receivers who are going to play because he wants to throw the football. He wants to show what he's got. And if he can get a little bit of time or maybe roll out and design some plays to get him in open space where he can kind of set and get the ball downfield, I'd love to see him maybe get 150 yards in this game.
That's a smash play.
Yeah, I love that one, man. That one, build that one. Build your lineups around that one. Like make that one your baseline and then just kind of build out where you like to go from there.
That's a juicy one. That 95 is a smash. Fields is going to go off. He's going to make Matt Nagy regret, even going with Andy Dalton into week 1. Like, what are you thinking? Like, we know the answer. Like, it's going to be Justin Fields. Like, what are you doing? Why are you prolonging the inedible? Like, it's a little annoying, but you know what? Let Justin Fields get the reps. Let him just put the, the egg in his face. Like, hey, you should have started me week 1. Because guess what? Guess who they have week 1? My Rams. So hopefully I'm trying to think in my head, maybe Matt Nagy's a genius because you don't want the Lamborghini out there against an Aaron Donald who's going to rip his head off. So you know what? It makes sense.
It does. But here's the thing: you might be spot on because these coaches, like, they're not as smart as we think they are, or they think that we think that they think they are. Whatever it is, they're not that smart. It's a cyclical, whatever. But anyway, he said very adamantly, he is our starter week 1.
Yes,
very much saying week 1, which to me always kind of means like I said week 1, now it's week 2. I can do whatever I want now, and so that's kind of how coaches think in the world. Like they say these things to themselves, which is crazy because we can hear them and we're like, we know what you're saying, bro. We're not stupid. So I love this. And I love the, you kind of jumping on with him kind of going off too, because good play over there on the DK if you're, going to be DKing it. So yeah, I like. What about you? Any quarterback stand out, either fades or smashes besides
to go back to that Washington game, Taylor Heineke with the under with 102.5 passing yards. I'm going to go with the under because we've seen him be very mobile as well. He's a good guy that can roll out and extend the plays and et cetera, et cetera. So I think I'm going to take the under on PrizePicks with the 102.5 for the passing yards.
I like that too. And his playmakers, I don't know if they're necessarily going to be all there. And I mean, Cam Sims is great. If you want a possession guy over the middle, take a hit, take a linebacker, get a ball, go down 15-yard out. Love it. But you got to do a bunch of those. You know what I mean? You got to do like 10 of those or 8.
Exactly.
And so
they hit that 102. It's like kind of a stretch for him.
No, I like that. That's a good call. Okay. Receiving wise, I don't know how much he's going to play, but maybe Drew Lock is kind of positioning Jerry Jeudy to play for him because he's going, hey man, like he's getting Eddie. I need to have a little bit of the bridge to show, or a little bit of the the Jerry Jeudy to show what I can do. So Jerry Judy's over for me, 26.5 passing yards. That's one slant and go. You know what I mean? So
yeah, to the house.
It all depends on if he's going to get starting or not. So kind of watch that. If you come out before game time and Judy's not going to be getting reps, and dump this one. But if he plays, he pays. And that's what I'm going to do with this 26.5.
I like that. He plays, he pays. I like that. You got it. Boom.
I'm patting that one. Boom. That's simple right there. Yeah. Yeah. So, and that's in that game. What do you think about Jeudy this year in this? Do you like this 26.5 for him?
Oh, yeah, I do. I think it's doable. It's serviceable. I definitely think, if you want to get a smash play, that's one of them.
Yeah. I mean, you could pair this up, with the lock if you wanted to, assuming that they're going to be working together. And then, of course, if it doesn't work out, you could also fade it. If Jerry Judy's not going to be featured, or you get a report out that, they're going to be looking at, I don't know, Hinton or somebody else, or, Tintin or whoever they're looking at, instead of
Williams or somebody. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So, and that's where I stand in that game. On another little note here, in the Bears game, the Bears-Titans game, Justin Fields, we're going to talk about him passing the over. There needs to be a wide receiver he's going to pass the ball to. So Rodney Adams, I think he's got 145-plus receiving yards in 2 preseason games so far. Dude has been on fire. So his over-under is 29.5 passing yards. I like it. I like it a lot. I mean, I'm not going to go over and say he's the only one either. I mean, I think Riley Ridley is at 30.5 too. So there's just a couple of players. If the Bears are starting them at wide receiver, they're probably going to do better than 25 passing yards in this context. So any of the Bears receivers are kind of open for business. Is there a particular one that you like, or you're going to put your ducats on?
I'm not too sure, but if we expect Justin Fields to bowl out, some of those wide receivers got to smash on some of those overs. So I definitely think if we expect him to ball out how we know he's going to ball out, I could take a Riley Ridley, or I can take a shot on him. I don't think he's gonna like be under, what is it, the 26 you said?
Yeah, Rodney Adams is 29.5, and then I think Riley Ridley is 30.5 So
yeah, I see that being
between the two of them. You know what I mean? Very, very doable if they're on the outside, or even doable. This team. Yeah, I mean, unless they go tight end. But I mean,
which is very possible, honestly.
Yeah. Be a Cole Kmet comeback.
Oh God, let's not start that hype train. That's
oh no, Cruz driving that one. She's taking that one, wherever she wants it. So yeah. Talking about fades, my guy Fred Brown for the Titans, under 27.5 for me. He's only had 6 targets, 3 catches so far. Hasn't made an impact to date in that game. So I don't know how Matt Barkley's going to kind of fare against the Bears D. I don't know what it's going to look like. But yeah. I'm not really targeting Titans wide receivers necessarily. I don't know about you and how you feel about it. Dez is there. They have other guys they might want to get a little.
Yeah, Dez Fitzpatrick, Josh Reynolds, those guys. I'm not too sure what that's going to look like, honestly. So I'm kind of like fading the entire wide receiver core right with you.
Yeah, yeah, and then I got one more fade because I want to do plays and fades. Earlier this week, yesterday actually, with my lovely friend, stepmom Lauren, I did like mostly just smashes and overs, which I like. I don't want to be like a poo poo guy, but I'll be a little poo poo. I'll put a little poo poo out there. I did in the Thieves, so I might as well do it now.
Yeah, right.
All right. So I'm fading Tutu Atwell, 31.5 passing yards, and here's why. The Bronx are pretty strong against the pass D. They're not giving up many passing yards. And then also, you're not, in this game with Perkins, you're not getting somebody who's going to be guaranteed to be throwing the football. You're going to be somebody who can run the football. Now, Atwell could take one pass and break it, and then you're done. That's a one hit.
We have yet to see it. We have yet to see it, though.
We have to see that. And for him, it's not going to be a volume situation. You're hedging your bet on he gets a couple targets. He doesn't break one. If he breaks one, then all bets are off, and no one called him breaking one unless you got a supermodel that computer model. I'm not talking about supermodel. I'm talking about like supercomputer model. Something.
Scott.
All right, I'm not trying to get canceled here. I love all models, by the way.
Playing it safe. I like that. I like that. Crazy times.
Yeah. So, and those were kind of some of my receiver fades in place. Before we jump to the fantasy point section, which I did want to kind of wrap up, what do you think? Any receivers stand out to you? Any overs or unders that you're kind of looking to edge your bet?
I got two of them. Rondell Moore, I definitely think he could smash over that 25.5. We saw him take a couple screens, and he got some really chunky yards out of that. And I think he's a big playmaker to be able to get the separation. And I like what we're seeing him out of, the playmaker as potentially as the wide receiver 3 going into the season, regular season. So what do you think about that?
I agree with you. The only problem is that game was canceled. So I know. I almost got canceled like 2 minutes ago talking about models. That game actually did get canceled because of hurricane that's coming in. So, but that news just broke. You know what I mean? So, but I love that. I think Rondell Moore, that was somebody who I had circled as one of the best picks in plays this week because he's somebody who, a few touches is all he needs, and that's where you're kind of looking at Tutu Atwell. Can he do it? Rondell Moore can do it. So,
can do it, exactly.
Yeah, we'll touch on him again. Don't worry, we love you, Rondell. We'll see you soon.
You'll get your love. You'll get your love next week.
Yeah. Is there anybody else, or is your other play in that game as well? Because that game,
I was going to say Marquise Callaway.
Yep.
I definitely think that's an under situation for me, though.
Yeah, I think it's spicy. Cool the Jets, right?
Yeah, cool the Jets. I think they're going to sit him a little bit. He's not going to play as much.
No, I agree with you. That guy's locked in, though, as the wide receiver 1 being drafted now above Traquan Smith. Rightly so, of course. But,
yeah.
I can't wait. What about when we get over to the actual fantasy points, which I like? They give you guys just a ton of fantasy points, and they give you all different positions too. You know what I mean? So you're getting wide receivers, running backs, you're getting quarterbacks in there. I talked about Rodney Adams. You talked about Xavier Jones earlier. Both of their numbers are really pretty substantially low. Rodney Adams 5.5 for his over, and then Xavier Jones 7.5 for his over. I like both of those. How do you feel about those? You taking both those? You fading one of those? What do you think about those overs?
I'm definitely smashing it. Xavier Jones. We saw him catch passes out of the backfield, so PPR points are there, and he's able to actually hit the gut or get the edge. He's able to just be explosive. Like, I like everything I've seen out of him. It's not good enough for him to be the running back 2 or 1 or anything like that, but for against the 2s and 3s, Xavier Jones is definitely a smash for that 7 points.
Yeah, I could see him getting like 10, 11 and a half or something.
Oh, yeah. That's easy. Yeah. That's the floor.
Yeah. A really good DraftKings play, And speaking of DraftKings, before we talk about DraftKings, make sure you go over to PrizePicks.com, sign up MMN, and that is the Mayo Media Network. We are crushing it over there. You put in $100, they match it so that you have $200 now. I mean, that's free. That's free money.
Especially with our picks. With our picks, man, it's free money. We're giving away free money right now. Free game.
Last week, I believe with Stepmom Lauren, I was 5 of 6. So you didn't have to stack all 5 of them in a row. Either you do a couple here and there, you're winning. So please do MMN over there at PrizePicks.com. So with DraftKings, here's the thing. It's tricky to be able to call these slates because you don't know usage. We don't know when players are pulled. And so it's a crapshoot. I will say this is one thing I would say as a strategy. If a team is going to start their starters, and those starters are like Patrick Mahomes, which they said he's going to start 2 quarters. Maybe they do 1.5. I don't know. We'll see. But if he starts 2 quarters, that's the best play on the board of quarterback. Like, boom, right there. You know what I mean? And so look and kind of see who's being played, how long they're being played for. I love Justin Fields. We talked about him being played at quarterback. So it kind of depends on how long they're going to be in. Maybe not Perkins because the Broncos D is pretty stout. But, look for the opportunity. I think when you build your lineups, and you talked about Xavier Jones, perfect opportunity for him. I would love to play him this week. I think he would be a lock in at my RB. Anybody else that you would think that you'd want either RB, flex, wide receiver that you want to put in your DK lineup this week?
I can put in Taysom Hill if he ends up playing. I definitely think he could be a viable threat on the ground and in the air. I mean, if he gets some playing time, I definitely want him on my roster.
Yeah. No, I'm looking to see how those quarterbacks who can move the football with their feet. So some of those, like you said, they're able to get the ground yards. We got a running quarterback themed preseason week, and the defense is. I mean, not that they're not going to hit the quarterback. I saw. I mean, David Blau getting blowed. We coined that last night. Me and stepmom Lauren. He's getting blowed today. By the Indianapolis defense. First Twitter thing I saw was him getting blowed. So some players are doing that. But if you're the running quarterback, you kind of have a step ahead because the defense doesn't want to overextend itself and get beat. And so you have those big open lanes, cushions to the wide receivers. So, any of those running quarterbacks, I think, would be a good play. So, this is great, man. I love this, LaQuan. We're going to do this again. We're going to be here all season. Hopefully we don't get canceled.
No, we won't get canceled. We're coming in with that fire. We're coming in with the heat, and we're trying to get people the big bucks. We are for the people, man.
Exactly. Love the people. And this is my dream, by the way, as a person. It's not to win the Millie Maker and then retire or anything. It's to win the Millie Maker and then spend all my time working on fantasy. It's my dream isn't to take a break. It's just to do what I want with my work. So hopefully we can all get there, So thanks for checking this out. Yeah. And by the way, we're on YouTube right now. Smash the like button, subscribe button. We got to get lots of likes so we can build up and see how many likes we can get. We got to get a like competition on YouTube like they do in other platforms. And they talk shit to each other. So, that's something we got to do. We got to get more likes than me and Lauren yesterday. And then I'll talk shit to myself, So come on.
Let's do it.
Everybody.
I'm on board with that. And please go sign up to PrizePicks and use promo code MMN. It is very important that you sign up with that, and you'll be able to match your deposit by $100, up to $100 they're matching. You cannot beat that. Get that big bucks this season.
All right. Before we get out of here, where can people follow you on the tweeters?
You guys can follow me everywhere, man. Real Deal Fantasy on Facebook, Instagram, Tumblr, MySpace. Google me, man. I'm there.
Got it all. Just so you know, in my phone right now, I put you in as LaQuan, and then your last name is Real Deal. So Real Deal for sure. So that's just going to come up whenever you text me, Real Deal. And so you're definitely the real deal. We're going to do this again. I love it. Check me out, Nimble W Numbers over on Twitter, and then NimbleWNumbers.com. I just dropped my wide receiver 2 theory article. Who are those wide receivers? They're going to outperform the ADP that are undervalued criminally? Michael Gallup. People like that. Check it out over there. And then also, I just dropped wide receiver 2 theory draft, kind of how you would draft a team with this theory over at the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. Check that out for your drafts before you draft. I'm drafting 2 teams this week. How about you, LaQuan? You have any drafts to tomorrow or the next day or the next day or the next day?
Yeah, I got my home league is coming up next weekend, and I am psyched for that. This is year 5 with the fellows and should be interesting.
Oh, I love that. I got one Saturday today, and I got one Sunday. Shout out the crab cakes. We're going to kick it up. I love it.
Love the name.
No, this is great. Thanks for watching, everybody. We'll be back next time.
Peace.